Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we've just seen what could be a pivotal match in that race for finals night on Saturday. And don't forget, you could be there on Saturday night as well. Tickets available for free from dartshop.tv. But that match I just mentioned was a win for Conor Heneghan against Andy Hamilton. 94.13 average for Heneghan in it, winning in a last leg decider after the hammer had missed a dart for the bullseye that would have secured that spot for him. Now, Andy Hamilton, well, it is still in his hands. If he can get the better of Steve Brown in his last match of the day, he will still seal top spots. But Steve Brown has won all of his matches so far today, so that will not be an easy feat for Hamilton. Top of the table on 20 points, 2 ahead of Heneghan, who will take on Moreno Blom in his last match. Brown looking good for third place and a place in Group B, but Adam Smith-Neale can still catch him. And now we have a battle between the players in 5th and 6th position as Kevin Painter takes on Moreno Blom. The players are on the stage and ready. Kevin Painter has dominated matches between the pair so far this week. 4-0 and 4-1 victories for the artists, and Moreno Blom didn't take one of those defeats very well. Let's see if he can get some revenge, or will it be 3 out of 3 for Painter against the young Dutchman? Back to Paul and Henry in comms.
Thank you, Chris. Will it be repeat or revenge in this battle of generations between Moreno Blom and Kevin Painter? We know where these two will position themselves at the end of the day. They will be 5th and 6th in Group A. They will return for Group C action, which takes place tomorrow and Friday respectively. That's a 9:30 start here on Sporty Stuff TV. Kevin Painter, it'll be about finishing his campaign
Moreno to throw first.
On a high.
Game on.
For Moreno, after victory in his previous match, he's looking to build on the confidence following that winless streak.
140.
And maybe now he's got the victory, Paul Nicholson, he can just relax a little bit more.
I think these two have got more license to relax than anybody with 4 matches going before we complete our matches on Wednesday. They've both got 2 left. Painter's got to play Smith-Neale, and Blom has got that really interesting match against Conor Heneghan, but that's only interesting if Andy Hamilton loses to Steve Brown in the next game.
60.
It's very fair to say that Kevin has dominated the battles between himself and Blom this week. But you're right, Henry, because
39.
he's got that victory now of 4 legs to 1, quite emphatic against Adam Smith-Neale. He'll feel as good now about his chances of winning another match than at any point in his week.
100.
As you rightly mentioned, it wasn't just the victory, it was the manner of the victory as well. Sometimes you see players end a winless streak with a really, really scrappy game, which you end up winning 4-3. And yes, you've won, but you still feel bad about yourself. It's a victory where you can really build something from in that last one against Adam Smith-Neale.
140. Moreno, you require 153.
He has had a bit of a break since then. Not that it seems to count for much. He nearly went for the 153 to start.
160.
He's turning into the left-handed Ricky Evans. He's throwing that fast.
100.
Usually we say the double
Moreno,
line's tricky, but
80.
it's in a very different position for a left-hander. Oh, he can't miss the single.
Kevin, you require 16.
So, what a freebie this is.
Game shot on the first leg. Kevin Painter.
A freebie, and importantly, a break for Kevin Painter right at the get-go. And Moreno Blom is going to have to react to a setback
Kevin
once
to throw
again
first. Game on.
in this group. And the thing is with Kevin, no matter what the situational scenario is, he's just going to play in the same way. He's going to be all-out attack right from the get-go. His MO doesn't change one bit depending on what the situation is, which actually probably helps him knowing that he knows he can't go up in the table and he can't go down either.
45.
I've always said, and Matt Edgar said this on Monday as well, when he practices, it's maybe as intense
100.
as anybody we've ever met. So whether it's a practice match, a game like this that has a lot on the line, or whether it's got very little on the line, like this 12th match of the
47.
day, he's still going to bring that intensity. He still just wants to win a game of darts, and that's a very healthy mindset.
126.
But the intensity that he has, it does have its detriments as well. I can attest to it because when playing, I'm quite intense. I've tried to temper that a bit over the years.
180.
But it can give you headaches. Thinking about it so vastly. Every single thing you do, you microanalyze every single bit.
Kevin, you require 133.
So 1-3-3 for Kevin Painter for 2-0 lead, but he'll be wary that his opponent is on a finish. Not that he cares. As he gets the double 8 and opens up a 2-0 lead. Have that.
I don't know what number, if any,
third leg, it's Moreno
imprinted on that shirt of Moreno Blom, but whatever number it is,
96.
Kevin's got it. 1-3-3 out, one of the most difficult finishes in that range for a 2-0 lead. And his
43.
weekly lead against Blom has now been stretched to 8-1.
98.
He's got his number so much so that they've got rid of it from the yellow pages.
I remember when the yellow pages was
97.
something you could stand on and give you an assist. Nowadays, it's about a centimetre thick.
140.
I don't think it exists anymore, does it? I think they printed their last copy a few years ago.
Oh, did they? Oh, I'm not with it.
You ever needed a
60.
plum or anything like that?
Moreno, you
always
require 167.
RSVP yellow pages. Not going to help you with your checkouts, though. You've got to work them out
59.
for yourself on the stage.
Yeah, the referee can tell you what you've got left, what you've scored, but he or she can not tell you how to get it.
100. Moreno, you require 108.
He could go any which way from the 108. We've seen all manner of routes.
76.
All manner of routes. And that maybe would have been the most bizarre of the lot.
Yeah, that was different. I've not seen that one before. That was quite interesting. I actually quite like it because I'm a big fan of double 16, so anything to leave 32.
100. Moreno, you require 32.
Now, double 16 is what you wanted to leave, so why not hit it?
16.
Oh, you're dicing with game death here.
Kevin, you
Moreno.
require
You don't want to be
101.
leaving Kevin on a ton plus out. He's already taken a 1-3-3.
Double 19. Double 12.
Game
Check,
on the third leg.
mate.
Kevin Painter.
Ridiculous finishing from the artist, who is putting his foot down, stamping his authority.
Fourth leg, it's Kevin to
A bit
throw
like Supermarket
first.
Sweep,
Game
that
on.
one. Check it out.
I thought I was the one who's doing the singing around
Oh,
here.
honestly, Painter will love
90.
that. These guys had a disagreement yesterday over what I don't know. But I do know one thing about Kevin.
60.
When he's got a point to prove against someone that maybe he's had a little disagreement with in the near past, he likes to emphasize.
123.
I'm a good friend of Kevin's, but even he and I had a disagreement in the backstage area of the Grand Slam once,
96.
and we were separated by security. Yeah, I'll write about that one day. That was an interesting altercation.
140.
But within 3 days, we were fine.
That should be the way. You're never going to get along 100% with everyone 100% of the
100.
time. So when you have your little
Kevin, you require
ding-dongs, you will always
148.
sort it out in time. You have to when you're playing on the circuit. My goodness, Kev.
120.
Oh, that would have been some way to finish the game.
That would have been amazing. It already has been amazing from Kevin Painter. He's already beaten Blom
140.
4-0 once
Kevin, you
this
require 28.
How about twice?
Game,
Absolutely
shots,
brilliant
and the match.
from
Kevin
KP.
Painter.
That was a finishing masterclass. He only missed one darted double the whole match. Absolutely extraordinary display. He did miss two, in fact, 67% is still really good. But look at that, 95.43, and Painter goes on to 12 points. He's not going to improve his position when it comes to getting into the top 3. He's going to be in the bottom 3. But as far as one round of matches are concerned, yes, we've got one more for you, because Hamilton will take on Brown next. And if Hamilton wins that one, he will win the group. So do not go far. The best round of matches to come in Group A are next.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the artist has just brushed Blom once again. Kevin Painter with a 4-0 win over the young Dutchman Moreno Blom. It's the second time that he's whitewashed him this week. In fact, Blom has only got one leg against Painter in their 3 matches in Group A. He's going to finish bottom of the table. We know Kevin Painter will finish just above him in terms of position, but a long way above him in terms of points. 4 out of 6 on the checkouts, 95.5 almost the average there, and a 1.33 the high checkout there for Kevin Painter. So really good stuff from the artist, who's got another match to play, as has Moreno Blom, but we're getting into a really crucial encounter next. Andy Hamilton, top of the Group A table, looking to seal his spot at finals night if he can beat Steve Brown here. But look where Steve Brown sits in the table, 3rd, and it's all important for getting into Group B. So it is a really important match for securing those spots. If Brown wins it, he's definitely in Group B. If Hamilton wins it, he definitely wins the group. Biggest game of this group so far by some distance. There are a few players in the practice room bidding for different results, watching, hoping and waiting. Well, the wait is over. We'll get the action on. Henry and Paul to talk you through Brown against Hamilton.
Thanks, Murph. You're absolutely right. This is a big game. It's a win-and-in situation for both, but for different wins in total. Now, if Steve Brown was to win this match, he'd be Conor Heneghan's best friend for about 15 to 20 minutes. But the fact of the matter is, if Steve can go through today undefeated and into Group B he will have a hugely different mindset. And he would be in a different group to Kevin Painter over the next couple of days. So they'd be on different time slots. They're sharing a house, remember? That might assist both of them. Or will it? Time will tell.
First leg, it's Andy to throw first. Game on.
We can't forget about the fact that if Andy Hamilton wins this, it doesn't matter what Heneghan does against Blom in game 14. Hammer will win the group with any result that gives him 4 legs.
So Conor Heneghan can only watch
58
in the practice room and hope Steve Brown does him a favour. Well, that opening visit may have done him a favour. That's done Steve Brown no favours whatsoever, and you could see the gasp on his face. So covered well with the last.
It was one of those colon capital O darts in the old text smiley faces before everything was animated. But Steve has shown a great deal of patience over the last couple of days. Yesterday was not his best day. He actually only picked up 2 points yesterday after getting 6 on a pretty good Monday.
140.
But today he's timed a lot of his shots very, very well. And he's been incredibly resilient, which I mentioned that word a lot. But in this format, you have to be resilient because you're going to get a few knocks here and there. And you're going to have to come through some arduous battles. And he's done that today.
Justin Smith actually knocked the logic on its head last week. But you tend to see in Group B, the player who finished third tend to perform better than the player in second, because the player in second just tends to have that hangover from not winning the group. And so they have that emotion of not winning, and they have to readjust themselves. Whereas by and large, the player who finishes in third place has had to work hard, and that's been their goal for the day. They've achieved that goal, and by achieving it, they feel confident.
That's a very good piece of analytics there, Henry. I completely agree with that. Just imagine if you've missed match darts and you go into Group B thinking, well, I shouldn't actually be playing right now. That's a very different mindset to someone who said, right, I've won 5 games to get third spot. That's what Steve Brown's trying to hunt down.
And mentality is everything.
58.
And in this opening leg, Andy Hamilton's first to finish on 1-2-8. You can tell the magnitude of this match just based on the cagey opening
58.
from the pair.
And you require 128.
So Hamilton's going to get first go at the 1-2-8. Should go 18s here. Does, so treble 20. Would have left him a dart at the bullseye. Steve Brown back on 1-3-4.
56.
Most people these days like to go 54 first here. But, oh, he's going the route that I go. I love that route.
102. And he requires 72.
That was different. Well, I suppose he is the king of the double-double today.
He's got something on that double 17, hasn't he? Hamilton will be hoping he's got something on the double 12. He has. He has the dart in the bed. And he leads 1-0. He only needs 3 more now. And we will see him on Saturday night in the final.
It's Steve to throw first.
I can't remember the last time I saw somebody 95. Go for treble 17 on a 1-3-4. I thought I was the only one. Maybe Steve and I have got a bit more in common than I think.
Just a reminder who is joining play on Thursday and Friday here at the Super Series.
140.
Group C will see the arrival of Lee Shewan, the debutant this week, alongside Liam Meek and Scott Walters. And then in Group B, Conan Whitehead, Johnny Haynes 96. And Ryan Finesse join the party. And they're all looking to win the weekly title, which has been claimed so far in this phase by Robert Owen in week 1, and then subsequently by Chaz Barstow, Graham Hall, Dowell Pilgrim, Lee Evans, Kieran Tehan, and last week, Graham
100.
Usher.
You know what you were saying, Henry, about missing the chance to win Group A and then going into Group B 45. Or C with a very different mindset. Can you imagine the mindset of Josh Payne from week 4, who missed darts to win the week. He didn't win the week, and he's not going to Champions Week. Imagine that feeling. That is 10 times as bad
46.
as going into a Group B situation after missing out on a Group A win. Being that close to the £5,000.
57.
Only getting, I say only getting 2,500 as a consolation, but missing out on the chance of getting that 20,000 chance.
Nowadays, second place isn't good enough. You have to win the week. In the old format, top three went through to a Champions Week after 5 weeks. If you don't win the week, you have to hope
97.
that you'll get a second invitation before the 12 weeks are out.
Now, before we see the end of this leg, I'm going to ask you a question, but I'd like your answer in leg 3. Who's your favourite already of the 7 who have qualified? We'll come back to that. 118. We've talked about the yellow pages. Can Andy get this number?
Game shot on the second
Sensational
leg.
for a 2-0
Andy
lead.
Hamilton.
But the last time Steve Brown was 2-0 down, he won by 4 legs to 3. He's going to have to do it again.
Third
Come on,
leg,
then
it's
tell
Andy
me,
to
Henry,
throw
who's your
first.
favourite so
Game
far?
on.
For me, it's between 2. It's a toss-up between Owen and Usher. I think based on how well he played towards the latter stages of last week, I'd go Usher as favourite.
99.
3 all for me. I just like his consistent range, which is usually around that 93 to 95 range. Really dangerous player.
100.
And he plays a little bit more methodically, so he could upset the rhythm of someone like a Tian or a Robert Owen or possibly a Barstow, and definitely a Graham Usher because he's the fastest of all of the qualifiers so far. But that Champions Week is shaping up to be rather delightful.
140.
And Charlie Corsafine, our referee, is going to get a bird's eye view of Robert Owen's form next week. He's playing doubles with him at the England
95.
National Championships down in Ilfracombe.
Yeah, I hope he likes to listen as well. He's a somewhat garrulous individual, is our Robert.
You know when you've had a conversation with Robert Owen.
Yes, because you haven't spoken for about 8 minutes.
92.
We love you, Rob. We mean it with all sincerity. You like to talk. You know you do. Tell you who I like.
171.
One of my best friends from the tour.
And
Lovely
you
man.
require
Brendan Dolan.
170.
He's watching today as he's having a practice. Hope you're doing well, Bren. Good luck to you in the autumn period in the season. Let's not forget what Steve Brown's just done. A 171 to leave 135.
56.
306.
Steve, you require 135.
Possible. Probable. Oh,
110.
so close.
And you require 114.
But despite that, he's on the cusp of a 3-0 deficit. If Hamilton can take the 114, which he can most definitely do now, 14 for tops for 3-0.
94.
And it would have put him a leg away.
Steve, you require
on the
25.
back of the 118 in the previous leg.
In the second half of play today, 2-0's been a poisoned chalice.
17.
Not right now.
And you
Hammer comes back
require
for double
20.
10. Things turning for him. He knows he's getting close. He'd be even closer with the 4 o'clock double. How about 11:30?
18.
Time runs out.
Steve, you require
It could
8.
be 5 seconds to midnight in this leg.
Game shot on the third
Good
leg.
night to this leg.
Steve Brown.
And here's a break back for Brown. And it's back to 2-1. And remember, we've been talking about the battle to win the group for Andy Hamilton. For Steve Brown, he can
Fourth
secure
leg, it's Steve to
third
throw
place
first.
with victory in this one. And the chance to play in Group B
96.
on Thursday and Friday, which is a 10 o'clock start. And you can watch all the action with us here on Sporty Stuff TV.
Just want to thank everybody for getting in touch today as well about favourite left-handers. That's been the subject of the day.
93.
I'm sure we'll conjure up something else for tomorrow when we've got a new batch of players. We'll think of another subject.
100.
Get the joy of 2 commentators with you tomorrow.
Not at the same time.
No, no.
Yeah, we'll have Phil Bars with us in the morning for Group C, and you'll be back for Group B tomorrow night, Henry.
Looking forward to that, very much so.
Yeah, nothing's dull when Conan Whitehead's around. Johnny Haynes is a nice addition to the practice room as well, and Ryan Finesse is just a lovely chap from Salisbury.
60.
And he's had some success over the last year as well in this kind of darts, so we can't underestimate what he can do.
He won't be intimidated by the environment either. Not one bit. I'll tell you what, when you look at the players that we have on show this week,
100.
how lively could finals night be in front of a crowd?
Yeah, it could be lively, but I think it may be time to tease the audience just a little bit.
130.
Because we already know. We know and you don't. I could have said no there, but I'm not going to, even though I just did. We know who's playing next week. Yeah, it's pretty good, to say the least. We've got a very, very
57.
different cluster of
Steve
players
require
for you. And I'm just sad
150.
I'm not here.
I'm glad I got the booking for next week.
Ooh, was the bull the right call there? Or was the treble 18 the better play? Maybe
and
he thought that the flight was a
170.
nice little bumper for the bullseye shot. It didn't work out. Andy will be hoping that this does. That negates that.
Well, it would have been Fisher Mania if he got that in this context.
118.
Steve Brown was 58 for 2 apiece, and could 2-0 again be that poison chalice,
Game shot
be
on the
that
fourth
scoreline
leg.
that's been so
Steve
scary
Brown.
and precarious so far today. And Andy Hamilton, from that position of authority, from that position where he had a buffer, now finds
leg, it's
himself
Andy
back
to throw
level.
first.
The only
Game on.
advantage he has now is a throw in leg 5, but he does know that 2 more holds. He will be back on Saturday night for the finals.
I've heard you say that before.
Darts Javu.
I think
100.
when he was playing Heneghan, he was in exactly the same position and it didn't work out.
42.
Well, if we see a black cat walking by, it won't only be deja vu, it will be confirmation that we're all in the Matrix.
Around here,
96.
be careful of the wildlife.
Yeah, I don't think you get many black cats around here. We've seen a few flying insects swatted by the players. And they've even come in here without a ticket.
59.
The audacity. It's not just here where it happens. I've seen it at World Grand Prix. I've seen it at World Championships. Absolutely unacceptable behaviour. But then again, if you want to be here, you don't have to pay for a ticket on Saturday night.
123.
Dartshop.tv.
Lovely little segue.
60.
Now, this leg seems to be getting away from Steve. You mentioned the word brinksmanship a little bit earlier. I suppose you can't go saying that word without the use of a player's name called Danny
42.
Baggish, the king of brinksmanship. You get the feeling that Steve's going to have to go down the same sort of route as Danny Baggish. And did you know that Steve shares his name with an American dart player? From the early days of the PDC, he was called...
32.
Well,
And
obviously
he
Steve
require
Brown.
140.
He had a pretty good record. He was fast. He was good as well.
Not going to make that article. Andy Hamilton wants 140 then to go within 1. So as I go down the treble 16 with Steve Brown not on a finish on 308. Sets it up
124.
lovely indeed. Needs himself double 8 upon his return. Steve Brown could only apply pressure, and he needed all 3 in the bed to do
95.
so. And so Andy
And he
Hamilton
requires
wants
60.
double 8 to go within a leg of qualification for Saturday night's final.
Well, that one was a flyer.
Game shot on the 5th leg.
But that one was
Andy
fine.
Hamilton.
Steve not finding his best stuff. He might just be hitting the wall at the wrong time. And I suppose we have to look at the possibility
6th leg,
now,
it's
Henry,
Steve to
of
throw first.
Steve remaining on 16 points in the table. What does he need to happen
100.
for that to be comfortable for 3rd position? Well, I tell you what, Kevin Painter win against Adam Smith-Neale next. That'll do.
Most definitely. I think that's the only real result, because they're level on. So Steve Brown and Adam Smith-Neale are level on leg difference going into this game. Brown with the 2-point lead.
So if it's going to be 2 defeats to see Brown
30.
into Group B, his defeat has got to be narrower than that of Smith-Neale. So if it's going to be 4-2 the defeat, you get the feeling that Painter needs to win 4-1 or 4-0. And I suppose that's more
100.
likely now, because Painter's just taken out Blom by 4-0, so he's going to have his tail up.
You may have to rely on Rumi.
140.
That second and that third dart was Rumi, wasn't it? Keeps him in the leg. She has to win to keep him in the match and to send us to a deciding leg. But how plumb does that first dart look? How plumb does that second dart look? And how good is that visit at this moment in time? Leads himself 81 after 9. But have a look at this response from Steve Brown. What on earth is happening here?
81.
He'll be hoping it's not in vain. But it could be. He's already had one shot at the bull in his previous match to win the group. But that one does win the group. A sensational 12-dart leg from Andy Hamilton. And you hear for the very first time that roar of the hammer, which gets him the #1 spot in Group A and a guaranteed crack at £5,000 come Saturday night. There are the stats from this one. 91.3 with 50% on the checkouts, a high out of 118. And Brown now needs a little bit of a favour from Kevin Painter, his roommate for the week, because if he beats him by 4-1 or 4-0, he will ensure that Steve goes into Group B, the other group to where Kevin's going. That match between Painter and Smith-Neale comes right after this.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the hammer has nailed it. He sealed that spot available from Group A in finals night. Hamilton with a 4-2 win over Steve Brown, 91 average in it, 118 the high checkout, and that bullseye to win the match as well. Brilliant stuff from Hamilton, who for the second consecutive day has gone 4 out of 5 in his results. Brilliant stuff from the former world finalist. And another former world finalist is on the stage now, Kevin Painter. But this match is all about Adam Smith-Neale's quest to take Steve Brown's place in third in the table. So we know that Heneghan will be in Group B, Hamilton through to finals night already. But that defeat for Steve Brown means that if Smith-Neale gets the better of Painter here, then he will leapfrog him and take that third place. If Painter gets a victory, then Smith-Neale will join Kevin and Moreno Blom in Group C when we return tomorrow morning. So this is the penultimate match of the session. We are going to have a chat with the group winner, Andy Hamilton, after this game, but there is still some darts left to do the talking for Adam Smith-Neale. And speaking of doing the talking, it's back to Henry and Paul.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Chris, and congratulations to Andy Hamilton for qualifying for Saturday night finals, which you can be a part of here at the MODUS Super Series. Head over to dartshop.tv, that's where you can get your tickets. Alternatively, follow our social media channels. It's at MSS Darts. On top of ticketing information, you can find out all of the results from all of the games, all the key statistics, all the key news, and interviews as well from the players that win sessions and things like that. It's well worth following us across social media if you do so have it. And it'll also have ticketing information for Saturday night,
Kevin
which
to
is
throw first.
free of charge here at the MODUS Live Lounge in Portsmouth. But we're going to sit back, relax, and settle in to Kevin Painter against Adam Smith-Neale. And talking about sitting back, relaxing, and settling in, Kevin Painter's done exactly that.
Yeah, not a bad start in what could be a really good fixture.
139.
Adam suffered a 4-3 defeat to Steve Brown in his last match. He's had plenty of time to digest that one. Whereas Kevin has not really had that much time to revel in his 4-0 win over Moreno Blom.
180.
But they know that this is the time when you empty the tank of everything you've got left for Group A. And it all comes down to this for Steve Brown, doesn't it?
44.
If Adam Smith-Neale wins this match, he's in Group B. And he'll confine Brown to the same group as Painter.
130.
What a great leg this is from Adam.
Hit the turbocharge, and since that defeat to Moreno Blom, this has been much better from Adam Smith-Neale. Struggled in that game, but has recovered since and has left 52 after 9 against the darts. He's going to get 6 at it. 888.
44.
Goes inside. Will return on 4-4. Now that is a combination that sometimes can be precarious if he goes inside first dart. And Painter is going to apply
100.
Pressure.
Adam, you require 8.
2 4s. Half it. Awkward.
4.
That's why.
Kevin, you require 85.
He had a lot of opportunities when he played in his last match. He took them all. 79 confirmed. 22 of the best.
74.
There's not a dart player on this
Adam,
planet of Kevin's level who was ever satisfied with a miss on 11 because it's such a lovely spot.
Game shot on the first leg.
Beautifully done by Smith-Neale, though. I suppose when you look at that first leg, he did deserve it, but he had to dodge a couple of bullets along the way.
One of those balance of play legs.
Second leg, it's Adam to
Adam
throw
Smith-Neale
first.
won. He actually left himself a double after 10 darts. He was on for a potential 11 darter. He won it in 17 in the end.
100.
Doesn't matter as long as you get over the line. That's exactly what he did in the opener. And that's all Adam Smith-Neale cares about, getting over the line in the group.
180.
That's a perfect start to leg 2 from Kevin Painter.
I'm going to pose a question to you, Henry, because I talked about the change of equipment for Kevin at the start of today's play.
82.
He was involved in the very first match where he started that flip around of the fortunes for Conor Heneghan, who is now going to have to play for the next couple of days.
44.
But do you think this change of equipment for Kevin, where he's gone to the slightly smoother barrel, the longer stem, do you think this is something, in your opinion, that he should use the next 2 days, or do you think Maybe it was an experiment that hasn't worked. Personally, he's won 2 games from 4. He's still very much in this match. I think he looks better with this setup than the other one.
180.
I don't think you need my words to describe that. The pictures do just the job. But I think the way that Kevin plays, and he's so aggressive when he throws a dart, I think he needs that longer
97.
stem. Just to give it a bit more flight.
He's giving it the full grumpy cat here. The upturned smile. The focus. The double 12.
Game shot
the leg
second
is 1 in
leg.
12.
Kevin Painter.
This is where I like to watch Kevin Painter. He is borderline miserable with that focus.
Third leg, it's Kevin to throw first. Game on.
It's not me being antagonistic or anything like that. It's just the face he pulls when he wants to beat somebody. I've been in the end of it. I know how it feels. I respect it. He wants to beat people more than probably any dart player I've ever met.
And because of the way Kevin is, that's what makes him so watchable as a viewer. And he was a part of that generation around between 2006 and 2014. He fires in his third back to the match. The average goes up to 108. But it was a part of that generation that really set up the sport for where it is now. The maverick characters that we had at that time. And Kevin played his part to make the sport what it is today. And for that, we owe him a huge debt of gratitude.
I would go back a little further, actually. I'd go towards the turn of the century, really, the 98 to 2002 mark, where we started to see more players from the BDO
99
switch to the PDC
Kevin
system.
136.
So I'm talking about Andy Jenkins, Chris Mason, Kevin Painter, Steve Beaton, and some others, the likes of Roland Scholten, and ultimately the likes of Raymond van Barneveld.
Adam, you require
the strength of the BDO
142.
moved to the PDC. Another double top.
102.
That's not the first crack he's had
Kevin,
at
you
that finish this
require
week.
84.
Will Painter get a crack at double on the 84 after 12? Well, you don't need me to describe Painter's reaction to that first dart as he steps back. 4 tops.
Game shot on the third
15.
leg.
And that's class on Kevin Painter, because you could tell he wasn't happy with the first dart. Hits a treble 13 and just recomposes himself for a second for then staring down tops, glaring down tops and getting his nose in front at 2-1.
Now that was Dr. Painter at his best.
140.
Because on an 84 checkout, you dream of getting the 60. At worst, getting the 20. But when you get this small 5,
43.
you've got to say, clear, get the paddles out, thump, and then all of a sudden, you revive the visit with a lovely treble 13 in tops. So,
96.
All hail Dr. Painter. I don't think we've ever had a doctor as a professional dart player, have we?
Graham Usher Graham Usher works for the NHS in some capacity.
As does Keegan Brown.
Indeed.
88.
And how about Josh Payne's old manager, Linda? She's got 95. A degree in psychology, I believe.
She's got a doctorate.
She was a world #1. So there you go. But whilst playing, I don't think there's any dart player that I know of has
54.
got a doctorate. If anybody knows of one, and I have forgotten, please feel free to get in touch. Linda Duffy is her name. Very, very clever lady.
95.
Suppose going into that field, that's a lot of time and dedication, which you have to take away from the board. Adam Smith-Neale will be dedicating his chances on this 1-2-3 finish. He is going to return
59.
With Painter back on 208. Game being dominated by the player who's throwing first in this match.
He's got 23, which leaves 185.
48.
And again, you see the aggression.
Adam, you require 64.
A lot of defensive players would have gone to the 15s there. Double 8. Ooh,
no score.
What an opportunity now for Painter.
Kevin, you require 160.
I've said the word freebie. This is no pressure on this shot. He didn't expect to get a shot at it at all.
And he's already had this today. He won't repeat the feat on this occasion.
60.
So Smith-Neale returns, 64. And crucially back at 64. It won't be 3 clear darts at a double. It will only need 2, but he only needed the 1.
Adam Smith-Neale.
Ain't that a darting irony?
Sometimes when that happens, because it happens more often than you think. I've seen players bust a shot.
5th leg, it's Kevin to throw first.
And the next time you're determined to get it, but I don't think we can go any further without mentioning. Was it 130 checkout that Phil Taylor had at the UK Open against Aidan Kirk, and he busted twice on double 12? There's a lot of time passed between that and now, so I can confidently say
140.
That was hilarious. I don't think Phil thought it was hilarious at the time, because he ended up losing that match to Aidan Kirk.
44.
Who is Aidan Kirk these days in darting circles?
I'm not really sure. He's a fine player, but it doesn't work out for everybody. There's only so many spots at the top table. There's only so many spots available per week here at the MODUS Super Series. And I suppose
100.
We should find out.
Most definitely.
I think he became a dad in the last year. That might be his focus right now. And if that's the case, then Aidan, I hope you're watching and I hope you're well.
78.
I always got on really well with him. I always thought he looked like a farmer, because he had that beard with a mustache look. And we had a bit of to-ing and fro-ing on the European Tour about that for a couple of seasons. It was quite funny.
And people do ask us quite often, how do players qualify for this? You cannot qualify for this. You get invited
96.
because of what you've won. So if you win something on the tour, you will possibly get an invite here. If you do well on the tour, you may possibly get an invite here. We will get the best informed players outside the PDC come and play here.
40.
From the ADC, from the
87.
Challenge Tour, from the WDF. If you do something and it gets noticed,
71.
look at your email inbox. So it's up to you. Go out there, play in tournaments, do something big, and you might get a phone call. Smith-Neale looking to hit the front after 5 legs.
60.
Steve Brown
Adam, you
does
require
not
60.
like this right now. Double 4. And by my reckoning, I think Adam Smith-Neale is getting very, very close to Group B action with Conan Whitehead, Johnny Haynes and Ryan Finesse and Conor Heneghan. One more leg, and he's there.
And what a group that would be.
95.
Be an excellent group if Steve Brown was a part of it as well. Either way, there's going to be a great addition to that Group B fold tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Sporty Stuff TV for all of the action.
85.
Crucial last dart there for Kev. This is the thing with Smith-Neale. No matter what the situation
59.
is, he's had an up and down kind of day, but mentally he's unflappable.
Here's another thing as well that I've just noticed about this table. If Kevin can turn this around, he's got a superior leg difference to Adam. Kevin could go to 4th, and Adam could go as low as 5th.
93.
When you consider some of the games he's had this week, that's almost inconceivable.
This is the thing with the Super Series, in particular Group
60.
A. You cannot make it up. And when you think certain scenarios are cast iron guarantees, they are not. The only guarantee is we're going to see Andy Hamilton
99.
on Saturday night.
Absolutely right. And there's only 2 matches to go. At the start of the day, I was saying don't discount Adam Smith-Neale from winning this group. And now we're talking about him possibly being 5th.
Bizarre.
59.
Crazy.
Adam, you require 155.
It's not looking too crazy because right now it's way more likely for him to be 3rd.
139.
Especially after that. Painter needs a maximum and a hope.
Could happen, you know. Look at the smile from Kev.
140.
He knows.
Adam, you require
So Smith-Neale
60.
returns for double 8. Double 4.
No
And it
score.
goes the other side. Kevin Painter returns.
Kevin requires
Keep it alive.
76.
In this game, that doesn't help, but he has resuscitated a visit before on treble 13, and this time he can't do
36.
it. So Smith
Adam,
Neale with the
requires
bust
16.
shot in visit 6. Can he put it right?
Game,
Group B
shots,
beckons
and the match
for Adam Smith-Neale, and Painter will be in Group C over the next couple of days. He will be there with Steve Brown, who just comes up short. It is an 81.73 average for Painter. 85 is good enough for Smith-Neale. The checkouts were decent for Painter, but he just didn't get enough chances, did he? We're going to have a word with Andy Hamilton on the gantry with Chris Murphy at the end of the next break. That's coming up right now, and when we come back, we'll find out how Andy Hamilton feels about winning Group A.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Andy Hamilton, who has topped Group A and therefore will be at finals night on Saturday. Andy, just give your reflections on the last few days.
Yeah, I think it's been a tough few days. There's some good kids in there who've got a lot of time in the future for them. But also, I'm just thinking, I just went out there and enjoyed myself. I've never enjoyed myself so much indoors as come to this one. It's a new venue, like give me like a new lease of life again.
4 out of 5 wins both days, the last couple of days. When Conor won 5 out of 5 yesterday, did you come in today thinking that it was going to be difficult to get in front of him?
Yeah, I was looking at the table last night back at home with the in-laws, and obviously I was just thinking about myself, I'm going to just keep where I am. I'll play Thursday, Friday night. I never thought it was going to turn out like it did today, but that's darts for you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the table ended up with you actually 4 points clear at the top of it. Conor Heneghan there in second place on 18. Adam Smith-Neale, by beating Kevin Painter in that last match, has actually booked his place in Group B, so he'll be in action on Thursday and Friday night. Steve Brown, Kevin Painter and Moreno Blom will play in Group C in the mornings. But you, Andy, will just have feet up. Will you be watching?
No. I think I'll have a couple of days off now and just relax, chill, and I'll be back Saturday night for another good session of darts.
Just quickly, you're a player who's played on the biggest stages, Premier League, World Championship final, of course. How does it feel for you playing in these types of events where you're playing without a crowd? And maybe will it suit you a little bit more on Saturday when we've got a crowd in?
Yeah, maybe. I think the crowd's always good, but I think you adjust to the occasion where you're playing darts. I think for me, I've done a lot of these kind of things now where there's no crowds in there. It's all about focus on what you're going to do yourself. So I've enjoyed that situation, and I think this 3 days have proved how good I can really play darts and compete with the people. So it gives me self-belief again. So I'm looking forward to Saturday night, get a crowd in there, a few hammer roars. We'll wait and see.
Well, there you've got it, Hammer Roars on Saturday night, and you can be there as well. Tickets are available for free from dartshop.tv. We'll let Andy get away. He's got a couple of days off. We'll see him again on Saturday night. We've got one more match still to play, though, today. That is between Conor Heneghan and Moreno Blom, and Paul and Henry will talk you through it.
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, one game left today, but what a brilliant interview that was with our group winner, Andy Hamilton. And the one quote in that, Paul, I took out more than anything else was the fact that he said he's never enjoyed himself as much in darts as he has done here.
It's a pretty big statement considering where he's played before, but I suppose when you get to Andy's age, and I don't mean to keep bringing his age up, but I think you get to a stage in your life and your career where you just are a little bit more philosophical about what you've been through, the peaks and troughs. And right now is the right time for Andy just to
first
enjoy
leg.
the
It's
fact
Conor
that
to
he's
throw
still a
first.
world-class player.
Game on.
And if he can remove the pressure from his shoulders of expectation, there's no telling what he can still do. And he's proven already this week by winning Group A
100.
that there are definitely opportunities in his future.
Most definitely. And he has guaranteed the hammer war on Saturday night. That's going to be some sight in the crowd.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I like the aspect of Saturday night where the players can be just a little bit more animated and vocal. That's what this is all about. That's why we're no longer playing on a floor. We've got a little bit of a stage there. When the players are on a stage, we want them to perform
93.
the way that they feel they should. But as far as this game is concerned, Heneghan, who has only won the one match today,
60.
consequently against Andy Hamilton. He's looking to make it 4 points alongside Painter
40.
and Adam Smith-Neale for the day. As far as the daily table's concerned, Hamilton's won that by one leg over Steve Brown because they both got 8 points.
100.
And if Heneghan does beat Blom, he will confine Blom to the basement of the table for the third consecutive
58.
day.
Conor, you require 157.
What's the 157 for the opening leg? And I just wonder, we spoke about the psychology of second and third in the table.
93.
Heneghan knows that he can't win the group in this game. So the stewing over the last match mentality comes into
80.
play again here.
Conor, you
So
require
Conor can
64.
win this last game. Does that change his mindset going into tomorrow? Or is he just going to still think, I should have won Group A?
44.
Well, I think over the next 24 hours or so, he's going to be wrestling with the thought of, I should have won Group A. But the sooner he comes to terms with the fact that he hasn't,
20.
the better. But
Game
maybe
shot
he's a
the
young
first
man
leg. Conor
who
Heneghan
has a very old head on his shoulders. He's got one more chance just to bolster the confidence which was dented severely earlier today, losing
second
his
leg.
first
It's
three
Moreno to
games.
throw first.
And that's where it was lost.
Well, there was no dented confidence
100.
in that opening leg for Conor Heneghan. It was 1 in 19, but it was a confident dart at double 10. And sometimes we see in these last games, the players
81.
try and empty the tank as much as they can. Just leave nothing going into tonight. Have a good night's rest. For Conor, he's got the advantage of
42.
having a day tomorrow just to relax before going into the evening session. If he wants to, he can put the darts down for the rest of the day, go out in the city, have a little bit of dinner,
55.
and then just relax before then having a practice session for tomorrow. For Moreno, he has to go again. First thing
81.
Thursday morning, and these can be long weeks here if you're playing 5 days consecutively in the morning session.
Say one thing, because I've spoken to many people who have played 5
85.
daytime sessions in a row. When it comes to Saturday morning, if they've got Saturday night to look forward to, they sleep really well on Saturday morning. Some of them don't even get up till 10, 11 o'clock
140.
because ordinarily these guys are getting up at 6, maybe 6:15 in the morning to get ready for their schedule.
60. Moreno, you
You can
require
give them a line on a Saturday night with a
138.
guaranteed Saturday night's play. Ooh, they're happy. And Moreno was also
126.
almost very happy with that 138 attempt.
He's going to return for the double six. Heneghan all the way back on 220. This is for a hold of
50.
throw for the young
Moreno, you
Dutchman.
require 12. Game shot on
And
the
quite a
second
comfortable
leg.
one as well.
Moreno
So we are
Blom.
level at 1 apiece. These two are playing for pride and darting confidence going into their respective groups. We won't see them play each
Third leg,
other
it's
tomorrow
Conor to
and
throw
Friday.
first.
Heneghan will be in Group B, as we've mentioned. Blom in Group C. But
44.
there is a conceivability that we may see these two on the Oki again on Saturday night if they both qualify for their
93.
respective groups over the next 2 days.
I don't think anybody wants to scrub the slate more than Moreno Blom.
125.
Only got 4 points in the overall table, but he has got a couple of decent wins in there against good players.
99.
And you just wonder, with the experience that he has gained over the last 3 days, whether he could use that to his advantage against a debutant like Lee
95.
Shewan, who's never played here before, never played in live league darts before the Super Series started.
57.
But then again, Lee Shewan's played at Lakeside, so he's got that experience that Moreno doesn't. It'll be a fascinating next couple of sessions over the next
82.
couple of mornings. Just make sure that you're able to join us.
And we saw a couple of weeks ago with Kieran Tierney, who finished bottom of Group A. I think he was on 6 points at the end of it. Moreno can do that with victory
60.
in this one.
Conor,
but then he came back, refreshed his mind, and then
155.
won the week, and will be at Champions Week in a few weeks' time.
I think it might be wise
58.
of one of us to actually go up to Moreno and say, look, all is not lost by being bottom of Group A. Just look what Kieran Tierney did. And he will
100.
always be
Conor, you
remembered as
require
the
97.
first winner of a week in this building.
The Super Series history maker,
73. Moreno, you require
Moreno
92.
Blom, in the finishing zone. He's been a bit of a troublemaker. He's been a specialist around this mark this week.
48.
But
Conor,
not
you
this time,
require
and so
24.
Heneghan will return for the double 12 to open
Game
up the
shot on the
2-1
third
lead and go
leg.
halfway
Conor
towards victory
Heneghan.
and win his final game of the day. A much-needed victory on the back of what has happened so far on Wednesday for him here at the MODUS
Fourth
Super
leg, it's
Series.
Moreno to throw
It's
first.
Moreno Blom with the throw in the fourth, all with throw so far.
57.
We've talked a little bit about the dart shirts this week of Blom as well. This is the best of the lot. Monday, meh. Yesterday, no.
140.
Yesterday, oh, sorry, today, yeah, I like this one. This one's got a bit of identity. Maybe he should get, or maybe he's only got one of them.
140.
At least he's not wearing the same shirt every day.
Yes. Although I think Callum Ridds might have a copyright issue with that shirt.
96.
Collins has got a smattering of green on it now.
43.
I think I likened it in Budapest about 10 days ago. Then 10 days ago, it looked like Slimer from Ghostbusters had run into him.
95.
I can get away with that because I know Colin really well.
91.
Ooh, they both left
Conor, you
170.
require
Come on, lads, we haven't had one
170.
yet. Yet?
145. Moreno, you require 170.
Sounds like Father Jack there, didn't I?
But it will be no fishy in the darty dishy today.
96. Conor, you require 25.
That was the worst of the lot.
Yeah,
okay.
that was a bad one. Double 8.
9.
That wasn't his best
Moreno,
one
you
either.
require
And
74.
where's Blom going to go for 74? Oh, he's been sipping from the cup of conventionality.
34. Conor,
If
you
that's a word.
require 16. Game
But the
shot on
taste of
fourth
Heneghan
leg.
will be a sweet
Conor
one because that's a
Heneghan.
break of throw and it sees him a leg away from victory now at 3-1 against the young Dutchman. He can win that. It will give him that
Fifth leg,
confidence
it's
going
Conor
into
throwing
tomorrow
first.
night. And just a reminder of the session times, 9:30 in the morning for Group C, 10 o'clock at night for
100.
Group B. It is available on Sporty Stuff TV if you're watching us in the United Kingdom. And, of course, it's available around the world
32.
via YouTube.
I've just had a missed call from Dennis Ovens, Connor. He wants his shirt back.
123.
Because he's the only other dart player that I can even conceive that would wear that shirt.
60.
This is like a darting version of what not to wear, isn't it? It's actually not that bad, Connor. I'm just pulling your leg. But he's one of the people that
125.
subscribes to wearing a golf-style shirt, something that's really comfortable.
180. Conor, you
Used to be a
require
case that
153.
Dart shirts were very uncomfortable, made with some very thick fabrics, and perspiring was just the norm.
38.
But nowadays, the kids are very much up on this. Not far from victory now, Conor Heneghan.
81. Conor, you require 115.
So 115 to claim victory in the last game of the day in Group A. He's made a little bit of a mess of that. Moreno Blom will return for the 148, and you wouldn't put this past him. Not one bit. Double 17. And that's probably
Conor,
the most bizarre route of the
87.
lot. And so Heneghan returns for the 87. And he is going to get a dart, 2 darts at double 18.
Game,
to seal
and
a 4-1 victory. And Conor Heneghan beats Moreno Blom in the final game of Wednesday here at the MODUS Super Series. He does it by 4 legs to 1, and it will give him a huge confidence booster going into tomorrow's campaign in Group B. He will finish second in the group behind the victorious Andy Hamilton. For Moreno Blom, he's going to have to clean the slate going into tomorrow's session. He's going to be in Group C alongside Lee Shuham, Liam Meek, Scott Walters and Kevin Painter, and alongside Adam Smith-Neale as well. So let's have a look then at the table. Sorry, Steve Brown in 4th place. Andy Hamilton, the victor, on 22 points. From Conor Heneghan and Adam Smith-Neale, who will take part in Group B. Steve Brown, Kevin Painter, Moreno Blom will return tomorrow morning for Group C. But for now, we're going to hand back up to the gantry, where Paul Nicholson is alongside our host, Chris Murphy.
Thanks, Henry. Yes, we've seen Andy Hamilton top the group, Paul. There's been a couple of games today where it's been kind of winner takes all. But I just want to talk about Steve Brown first of all, because he won every match up to a point, and then in the space of about half an hour, it all went horribly wrong.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one. And you think about the confidence levels that he was starting to build up as well. I really thought he was going to cause some problems for Andy in the end, but Andy was just too wily, right? And he's going to be disappointed about the fact that he's not made Group B. But I think if Steve was to listen to this, don't be disappointed. Be really happy with your best ever day playing in this format and take that into Group C and run with it.
And we heard from Andy Hamilton. He said how much he'd enjoyed it the last few days. Good to see Hammer in a good place.
That smile was wide. And it's great to see, because he's one of the most jovial guys out there, but he's also one of the most passionate as well. And you want someone like that to be passionate about the game until they choose to put them down, but he is far from done.
Right, and we're far from done as well here at the MODUS Super Series, because tomorrow and Friday we have our double days. Group B, Paul, Conor Heneghan falling into that one with Adam Smith-Neale, who got that place off Brown, Conan Whitehead, Johnny Haynes and Ryan Furness. What do you think about that lineup?
I'm really interested to see what Conan Whitehead can do here. He had some success earlier this year, but he took about a year off between the middle part of 2021 and 2022. But when he first came back, he had immediate success when we played in Southampton as well. So I just think that coming into this new venue, very much like Andy Hamilton, he may be revitalised. And he's the one I'm looking out for. But I suppose when we look at Group C, it's all about the debutant, isn't it? We haven't seen anything of Lee Shuham yet.
Yeah, Group C tomorrow morning from 9:30, the same time you've watched Group A. So Steve Brown, Kevin Painter and Moreno Blom fall into that. As Paul said, Lee Shuham, Liam Meek and Scott Walters, the other players in that one. That's it for Group A, but we will be back, as I said, with double sessions live on Sporty Stuff TV, and then at finals night on Saturday, you could be here as well. Tickets available for free from dartshop.tv, and you've been promised the Andy Hamilton Raw. But as it goes for Group A today, well, the Hammer nailed it.